Hello, welcome or welcome back to Made by Amanda Mount. I'm Amanda and I make stuff. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a crochet artist. I mostly make amigurumi plushie type items that I sell at market events and online. And you guys, it has been a crazy year for my crochet business. If you've been here on my channel, obviously thank you so much for watching. But you know that I had a ton of market events this year. I think I did maybe like 25 or something more or less than that in the last year. Some of those events were back to back. Some, I had a bunch in a month. Now that I finally have a little bit of a slower season, I have some time to reflect on that. And you guys, I was so burnt out. I think it did get to the point, unfortunately, where it was taking a little bit of my enjoyment out of crocheting because it was just such a job, like such a stressful job. And crochet is not my full-time job. It was something I really started pursuing as a hobby. And I don't ever want to get to the point again where the burnout takes away from some of the joy of crocheting for me. So in this video, we are going to talk about some tips on how to deal with burnout, how to prevent some burnout, how I survived the last year, and hopefully this information can help you guys if you have any kind of handmade business as well. So I think that my number one cause of burnout this past year was definitely how close I had all of my market events together. Like I did so many, and I not only had the market events going on, I was also selling on Etsy. I also had content that I was making. It was just a lot at one time, but I think that the specific target of that stress was how many markets I scheduled for myself. When I first started doing markets, I immediately started seeing some success and I became obsessed with it. If you have a crochet business, maybe you've seen similar things where you start doing markets, you're so excited about it, it's so much fun. I love markets. So as soon as I started to really see that success, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do a market every single weekend. So I started looking for any kind of event I could, and I was signing up for all those events. And a thing about markets is a lot of markets require you to sign up pretty far in advance. So I was signing up for events months and months out, not knowing what my plan was going to be like at that time, not really thinking about how close together I was having these events, not thinking about how much time I would have to prep. I just was signing up. I was paying my vendor fees in advance. I didn't care. I think it kind of bit me in the butt a little bit because I was constantly scrambling to make things. I never felt good about my inventory, and showing up to the market events every weekend, having to do all that work, that in itself is a lot of work. Just showing up, setting up at a market event, sitting there all day. So that was a huge source of burnout for me this past year. And to combat that this upcoming year, I am really going to focus on planning my events. I'm not going to sign up for any event I see. I'm really going to focus on bigger events and really space them out so that I can have inventory that I'm proud of and I still have time to have a life outside of crocheting. It had gotten to the point where I had accidentally booked out almost all of my weekends over the summer, so I couldn't really do a lot of things with my friends or anything. So I would say that my number one tip is, if you are someone that is doing market events, please make sure you are planning that out and thinking about it accordingly. I think another really important tip to prevent burnout along the same lines of planning is have a schedule. It definitely got to the point this past year where I did have to have a very solid schedule. I would think about how much inventory I needed for an upcoming market, and realistically, I had to plan out, okay, well, how many things can I make during this time period of the day? And these are my set crochet hours, and after that, I need to do something for myself. And I think that's a really important part of the scheduling process. Not only should you be scheduling your crafting time, but make sure you're scheduling time for yourself. I think that having a set schedule of, okay, these are my hours to get this done or these things done, and this is my me time, that is so important to prevent the burnout. Another huge important thing, whether you have to schedule it or not, is make sure you are taking breaks. Taking breaks is not only so important for just your mental health space, but it's important for your physical health as well. As a fiber artist who is constantly working with my hands, I was struggling this year. Not only was I getting burnt out mentally, but I was getting burnt out physically as well. My hands were really suffering when I was in the heat of my market prep. My wrists, I mentioned in another video, they were like a bowl of snap, crackle, pop. They were constantly cracking. My hands were so sore. My wrists were bad. I had to wear my wrist brace to sleep every night. And I was really worried I was doing irreversible damage to my body. When I really took the time to slow down and pace myself with what I was doing, honestly, my hands feel so much better, and it motivates me a lot more to crochet when I'm not in constant pain when I am doing it. So taking breaks is so important, you guys. Please, please, please make some time to do that. I promise you it will benefit you in the long run. Something else that really helps me with the burnout is thinking about the fact that I can make things just for me. This is a mindset that I still struggle with sometimes, because sometimes I feel so obligated to make things that sell really well at my market events, and I get so caught up doing that I kind of lose inspiration, and that's where a lot of the burnout comes in as well. And I think that making items that you just want to make because you think they're cool, and maybe they're not going to be a bestseller, but you just make them for you, I think that that is so huge to staying inspired and preventing the burnout. Honestly, sometimes I find it really helpful to walk away from crochet and do a different kind of art. I love any kind of creative expression. I have tried many arts before crochet, and I still continue to try new arts all of the time. I find it very inspiring, and something that I always advocate is, how do you know what you love or what you're good at if you haven't even tried it yet? If you are looking to discover a new art, you should definitely check out today's video sponsor, Craftsy. Craftsy is an online community of creative, like-minded makers like me and many of you guys. It is the perfect place to find inspiration, discover a new hobby, or even just expand upon your skills. If you don't want to stray from crocheting, there's a ton of videos on there of other crochet project inspiration. They have over 2,000 classes and videos with step-by-step instructions that are walking you through things every step of the way. There are so many creative categories. There's knitting, sewing, crocheting, quilting. My latest creative art that I am pursuing is I am learning how to embroider on denim jackets, because I've always thought that that was the coolest thing, and I am working on embroidering all of my denim now, and I will also be embroidering all of my friends' denim as well when I finish this course. I love that they have the option to connect with fellow makers and DIY lovers. You can ask questions, share ideas, stay inspired, and it really just feels like a community. Craftsy is really your online resource for all things creative, and right now, the first 1,000 people to click on the link in my description below will receive a whole free year of a Craftsy subscription for just $1.49. which is a huge discount because the usual subscription is $123. So you guys do not want to miss out on that. Make sure you check that out now. And thank you so much, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video. Okay, my next thing on the list of how to prevent burnout is something that I did not do a very good job of this past year, which, like I said, had contributed to the majority of my burnout. And it was the fact that I didn't really have stock inventory to bring to my events. This is not only specific to events, but also if you're selling on Etsy as well. Something that I am really working on right now is building some stock inventory. And what I mean by that is having inventory on hand where I don't just have one of everything to put on the table. You know, I have a bunch of stuff already made so that if I do have a situation where, you know, maybe I have a ton of Etsy orders on top of my market prep, I already have some stock that I could just put in a box and ship out. Or, you know, I will have some stock where if I do have events super close together, I don't have to make the entirely new inventory from scratch. So I definitely think that that is important with any kind of handmade business, to have some things on hand so that when you do get Etsy orders or when you do have an event coming up, you're like, oh my God, when am I going to find the time to do this? That is really something I will be working on this year, and I think it will make a huge difference for my stress levels. I think that my last tip to help prevent burnout is work on your space. You know, make sure you have a clean space that you're really comfortable in. You know, I'm saying that. I wish I had a photo of what my area looks like when I'm in the middle of last minute prep for a market event. It is it is not pretty. And I do feel like it adds to my stress level, and it adds to that burnout feeling. When my area is a mess, my life feels like it's a mess, and you know, when I really take the time to have things organized and know what yarn I need for what specific project I'm working on, and that is the only yarn that I have out at the time, that makes such a huge difference. I feel such a weight lifted off of my shoulders when I finally clean the area and I can just focus on one thing at a time. It just makes me feel like things are more in order, you know? Whether they are or not, that's not important. You guys, burnout is a very real thing, especially when you have a small business, especially a handmade business, you know, it's a lot. So I just encourage you guys to take some time, take some space. Hopefully some things in this video were helpful for you, because like I said, burnout is not only not good for your mental health, but it's not good for your physical health either. And we really want to be taking care of ourselves so that we can crochet forever. Please let me know in the comments what you guys do to help prevent burnout and de-stress. I would love to know. And thank you so much for watching this video if you did, and I will see you guys in the next one.